Like most people literally just live a life of doing absolutely nothing, but want to be remembered as if they were a hero anyway to begin with.
Yo, YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Ro. I'm here to record another episode, and the topic today that I want to bring up, man, I want to talk about why do I enjoy taking risk? And as a man, yes, this got to be for the dudes. Why it's okay to take a risk? Anybody can take a risk, male or female. But I saw something earlier today that has made me want to just jump in front of the camera and talk about like taking a risk. Okay, so I'm only 26 years old. I turned 27 later this year, and I have always taken risks. Some of the biggest risks I've taken in my life was leaving a guaranteed school like the Air Force Academy as an officer to go to a junior college that hasn't won more than 5 games in like 3 years. When I was at Richmond during 2020, as we know what happened in 2020, I didn't play, like I didn't practice, and I basically forfeited my time with the team, which meant like, hey, whatever film I had prior and didn't play that spring league, whatever, didn't work out to my own. I basically said, screw it, I'm gonna do it on my own. End up getting a scholarship to get my master's degree, and then when I was in Colorado, I was only there for 10 months. Most people get like insurances and all that stuff, be there for a few years just to build a foundation. Now up and left, move to Miami. Bro, as a guy, you need to take risks. Like, we've become so soft now where taking risks seem to be like a very daunting thing. Like, yes, I do calculated risk. I don't do anything that's like abrasive or just completely stupid. I don't do anything like that. But at the same time, I take risk all the time because there's going to be one day down the road when you're wherever you are, if you're 20 years old, when you're 25, when you're 30, you're 35, you're 25, and when you're 30, like it's going to be something down the road where you need to take like a huge risk that when you look back at it after you take that risk, it's the single-handedly the only reason why you are in a better life. But it doesn't happen overnight. Like, you're not going to be able to just never take risks, be defense, and then just make a huge leap of faith. No, that makes no sense. Like, anything you do in life, you don't just jump to the very end and get it. You got to build it up. And me, I've taken like small risks across my life. But like Miami, which was a huge risk, leaving Colorado by myself, packing my bags and driving all the way down here, 30-hour drive, that was a huge risk. But you look at everything I did before, that ain't nothing. That's not nothing. But I don't think people realize how like detrimental it is for a man to actually take a risk. Like, you need to be able to sit there, because it builds those scars. It builds those events, those canon events in your lives. Like, even if you take a risk and you fail, good, great. I mean, the only reason I say taking a risk, and I'm aiming towards male, because I have a brother and a sister. I would tell my brother, go take a risk. I'll tell my cousins, go take a risk. But I have a baby sister. Would I tell my baby sister to take a huge risk like that? No. And the only reason I say that is because I know what type of girl she wants to be, and I know what type of girl she is. If she fails, which there's always a risk when you take, like a risk you take when you fail. It's a double-edged sword, but let's talk about the failure side. And you fail, you're going to become hardened. You're less likely to take more risk. You're probably going to, like swell in your own tears and just dwell in it and be like, woe is me, because even males do it. So I'm expecting a girl to really do it, right? So with that being said, you're already going to build that catalyst. I don't want to take risk anymore. Girls are more likely to do that. It's not a guarantee, but for example, if I were to tell my sister, don't take no risk, right? Learn from your older brothers. But on the opposite end, for a girl, if she does take a risk and it works, she's just become more independent, right? And since we live in a society where a lot of dudes are afraid to be independent, be men, be masculine, or better yet, take risks, as the original video said, she's gonna sit there and higher her standards. Her standards gonna be way higher. It's gonna be even harder to find a guy who's done any of that, because at this point they barely exist. Oh my gosh, like, I've been living in Miami, and I tell my homeboys and other people I know, like, man, just pack your bags and come. Oh man, I got a foundation. And it's like, okay, cool. Don't call me and ask me for advice on what to do next in your life if you're too afraid to do something that I know will work, because it builds character. So this morning I was talking to one of the guys that I met one of the first people I met when I moved down here. He's a huge influencer and all this stuff down here. He's an online coach, buff tattoo dude, all this stuff. We're really, really cool. And this man asked me about what stuff I got going on, and I told him I haven't been in Miami. I've been in Miami for a year at the end of July, first week of August. I haven't even been here a year, and I've done way more for my life since turning 26 than I've done ever in any part of my life. I've moved into a city that's so fast, and I didn't sink. I swam, met the people I need to meet as fast as I could. I'm on podcasts. I'm invited to events. I've been around people with cars I've never thought I'd see in person. Like, I'm doing everything I thought I couldn't do a year ago, unless I just made millions, and I ain't got no millions. So my point is like, when I up and moved down here, that was what I knew what would be the case. I swear to God, I literally sat there talking to Chet, because most humans can't even like fathom. Most people, if I said most people would never take risks, most people wouldn't even think that that's like appropriate to do. They would just be like, oh, that's too scary, don't do that. I talked to Chat GBT and told him my 3 main locations I want to move to, and I was like, okay, tell me why I should move here, pros and cons, etc. The only cons of Miami was being scared. I swear to you, the only cons of Miami, based on what I was trying to do with my life and my goals, ChatGPT literally said, the only cons you have is that you're scared. And that's what prevents you from excelling. If you have your bubbly personality, if you're outgoing, you're super fit, you'll fit right in and you'll get whatever the hell you want. And fast forward, that's exactly what I have. So it's like, dude, Miami's not the only city. No, Miami's not the only city. But most people wouldn't even leave their backyard. Most people wouldn't even leave their home state. Most people wouldn't even leave their country if it meant changing your life in a year. They wouldn't. They just flat out wouldn't. And when I spoke to him this morning, I said that. And then I looked at some other people, they're just like, dang, bro, you move too fast. And, like, I'm telling you, for a guy, right? You want to know the main reason why I want to take risk? I like taking risks strictly because when I have all my kids and they want to listen to bedtime stories, I'm telling them stories. That's just me with a different name. That's all it is. It's literally just me and all my plethora of experiences that most people have never experienced. It's just me and my stories. Just change the name. Oh my God, Dad, that person did this. That person did that. That person played football. That person was in a car wreck. That person did boxing. That person did. It's just me, but they don't know that. They don't know that. And then down the road, who knows, somebody might tell them, like, yeah, your dad was like an ultra human, an ultra badass who did all these amazing things. Like, come on. Are you serious? I can go on anybody's podcast, average people who be on podcasts, and tell better stories than anybody else. Because one, most people are just selling a course. Just being honest. Most people are just selling a course. And it's like, yeah, okay, that's the point of the video. Move on. They don't really care after that. But if you talk about what keeps people like probably engaged, but people want to hear stories. David Goggins is one of the most famous people because he has the most compelling story. Like Robert Downey Jr. has one of the most compelling stories of peak, and then down, and then back at his peak. And most people literally just live a life of doing absolutely nothing, but want to be remembered as if they were a hero anyway to begin with. And as a guy, it kind of just blows my mind that we now have guys who are okay with mediocrity. And I guess like there's winner or losers, like that's cool, like whatever. But at the same time, it still blows me because they would complain, like, oh, I want this girl, this and that, all this stuff. And I'm like, if you pay attention to any hero book, any Disney movie, anything that has a protagonist at this point, all the girls like the heroes. They're not the most handsome man. They're not the richest guy. They're the guys with the story. Like, what movie? I'm thinking Tangled. Rapunzel fell in love with a guy who was a thief. People were literally trying to kill him and capture him since the beginning of the movie to the end. And she fell in love with him. So he had an amazing story. I mean, any superhero thing like Batman, Superman, like Spider-Man lost his uncle, got bit by a spider. He was a nerd. No one cared about him when he was a nerd, but then when he gets superpowers and now he's got all these stories of how many villains he's taken down, Mary Jane finally loves him because she's the only one that knows about it. Like, stories. And it's like, it's in every form of literature, but then we look at it in our real life and this girl doesn't want to take me serious. This girl doesn't like me. Oh, maybe I need to get my money up. Newsflash. If you was a dork before you got rich and then you got rich later, you're still a rich dork. They still probably won't like you. You just have accessible things at that point until you lose it all. Nah, I'm just like, I don't understand it. This wasn't a rant. It was more of a statement that men need to take more risk in life. You take more risk, you'll be happier. Let that risk piss you off, because then you'll find a way out of it.
it's just in our survival.